Well, Republicans have been loudly voicing their concerns about government spending so far under President Biden, especially his infrastructure plan.
Infrastructure is a core function of government. It is something that the federal government, the state government, and local government should spend more of our resources on, but we don't have to hike taxes by $2 trillion to do it.
Well, how do you pay for it then?
Well, I think you pay for it in a number of different ways. One way you pay for it is by seeing significant improved economic growth. We saw that throughout the Trump administration because the policies were pro-business, they were pro-growth, and revenues improved. Now, unfortunately, during those 4 years, like the 4 years before that, they did not in Washington get control of spending. They feel as if the debt doesn't matter.
Well, now, granted, $2 trillion is no small chunk of change. It should be scrutinized. We will be scrutinizing this plan later in the show. But those loud Republican voices you hear now, they were really quiet about debt during the 4 years Donald Trump was president. Trump vowed to eliminate the national debt when he was campaigning in 2016. But for the record, the U.S. actually added about $7 trillion in debt during his 4 years in the White House, including the $2 trillion tax cut in 2017, the most significant tax reform in 30 years, and approved by every Republican senator, even the budget hawks. Deficits were actually growing while the economy was booming under Trump, which isn't really a good thing. And back in July of 2019, CNN senior political analyst and anchor John Avlon apparently looked into his crystal ball, and he wrote this. That is very bad news for those of us who will be left to clean up the mess after Donald Trump has left D.C., because there is no way that Democrats are ever going to fall for the inevitable Lucy and the football moment that will come when conservatives say that it's time to rein in spending. So here we are. Lucy's teeing up for Charlie. The fiscal conscience of Republican lawmakers and elected officials has grown, has magically reemerged under a Democratic president. Back in February, as the stimulus bill was cooking, there was at least one Republican in Congress who acknowledged the optics of his party's pearl clutching over the deficit.
During the time when the economy was booming and we had a Republican president and House and Senate, we kept on spending massively more than we were taking in, almost $1 trillion a year in deficit spending every year, adding to the national debt, almost $1 trillion a year. So now we say, this is outrageous, you're adding to the debt. And they say, hey, where were you when you were in charge? You did the same thing. So, yeah, I mean, it does show you that, you have to be somewhat consistent.
Consistency in argument, something slightly foreign to politics as we know it in Washington.